Hello, it's Keith here, and this is lesson 42 of the platform-specific series of my 6502 assembly programming tutorials. We're back on the Super Nintendo again, and we're going to be extending the example we did last time. Last time we got 3 tile maps onto the screen. Now this meant that we had 3 moving layers. You can see them above, but this time it has been changed. We're using some effects, and basically we're using the color map option, and we're going to be looking at some of the options that are available to us using that. What this does is it will take a set of layers. We can combine the layers into 2 groups, a main screen and a subscreen, and then what we can do is we can apply mathematical operations to the red, green, blue components of the 2. And what this means is that when the 2 layers overlap, the overlapping part will have some kind of mathematical operation applied. Now we can't do incredibly complicated things, but what we can do is we can do addition and subtraction, and this allows us to do effects like you can see above, which is a transparency effect, and it can also do masking effects where the 2 layers overlap. The one layer will remove the other layer, and we can do some quite nice stuff with this. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to use the example we had before, and we're going to split the layers into 2 clusters. Now the main screen is going to be the 2 Chibico characters, and then the subscreen, which is going to have the mathematical operation applied to it, is going to be the extra character, which is called Raider there. And we're going to be doing various tricks, and what we've got above is an addition, and so where the 2 are overlapped, they become brighter, and this means that the Raider character is making the 2 Chibicos brighter, and that's giving it this kind of transparency effect that you can see just here. But we can do a few other things as well, and we'll be having a look at those. So let's go over to our source code and let's have a look at the code. Now we're not going to go over the majority of this because most of it is based on the simple series bitmap example, and last time with the multiple tile maps we're only going to look at the new stuff, and it's this section here, the setup color maths section. So what we need to do is we need to allocate all of our layers to either the main screen or the subscreen. Now the main screen is sort of the primary one, the starting value, and the subscreen is either added or subtracted to the red, green and blue values of the main screen. So here we're setting layers 1 and 2 as our main screen, and we do that by writing to 212C. And then we're applying layer 3 to our subscreen with 212D. Now we could use layers 4 or the sprites, but we don't have any in this example, so it's just a simple example. We've then got some other options which are set with 2130. We can force a black background. We can have the window applied to this. We're not covered windows yet. We'll maybe look at those next time. And we can specify to use the subscreen, and there's a direct color option which only relates to 256 colors, and these are 16 colors, so that's not relevant. So we're setting the subscreen to apply to the color maths here. We're writing that to 2130. Next we set the background color of the subscreen. We're just setting it to black here. The red, green and blue components are all set to 0, so the intensity has no effect. The one that really does all of the work though is 2131, and this allows us to specify the maths we're going to use. So here we've got the subscreen's maths applying to the background, that's that B bit there, and layers 1 and 2. So we're applying to the background, meaning that the character Raider can be seen even when no sprites are overlapping, and it's also applying to layers 1 and 2, and that's why our Chibico characters are getting brighter when they overlap that extra character there. So that's what we've got here. So our bits here are, this bit here is the add or subtract bit. 0 means add, 1 means subtract. D means divide here. This bit will divide by 2 so that we can effectively, rather than getting brighter, we can blend when the layers overlap. We'll see that in a moment. And as I say, if we disable the background, the character on the 3rd layer, this character here, would not be visible until the sprites overlap, and we will be seeing all of those. So first of all, our first example here is with the add set to 0 and the divide by 2 set to 0. So let's just close this down and let's try setting the divide by 2 to 1, and let's see how that affects the effect. Okay, so there we go. Well, you can see everything's still visible on the screen, but now when they overlap, they're not actually getting any brighter. Let's just, okay, and let's get this really, really big here, because we'll need to see this in a bit more detail. So here you can see the Chibicos are going over the top, and then where these have overlapped, the colors have changed, but they're now being mixed, and the result isn't any brighter. So basically where there's no overlap, the colours are the same as before, but where there's an overlap, the two are added together and then divided by 2. So they're being blended and not getting any brighter. So that's an option if we should want it. Now, if we change the top bit to a 1, this will change us from adding to subtracting. And this will have the effect of the subscreen becoming a mask. You can now see when the two characters overlap, the colours are actually being subtracted. So the invisible character is making the other characters darker. Now, if the subscreen character was entirely white, this would of course black out the other characters. But because it's a variety of colours, it's affecting the colours in other ways. So that's the subtraction effect. Another effect that I think is especially fun for this character is if we disable the background bit, if we change this to a 0, well, now the subscreen character won't be seen on the background, but it will still affect the colours of the other 2 layers. And this is especially appropriate, I think, for this character, because this character is actually supposed to be a ghost. So now the character is invisible and is just seen as a sort of translucent image through the other characters, which I think is quite fun. So that's another effect we can do there. Of course, we could, I'm not sure why we'd want to, but we could do this the other way. And what we can actually do is we can apply this to only one of the layers on the main screen. So if I run again here, well, now the Chibico character, one of the Chibico characters is making the subscreen image brighter, but the other one is not. Let's just get bigger here. So you can maybe see here that where this Chibico on the left here is overlapping, you can see the character is getting brighter, but this character here is not getting brighter at all. And maybe that would be clearer if I just reapply the effect to the background here. Got to get the timing right so we can see the effect. Okay, so you can see here that this Chibico on the bottom is not getting any brighter as it overlaps this character here on the subscreen. But this Chibico here, which I guess is the layer 1 Chibico, is getting brighter because we've made this effect only apply to layer 1 and still the background, which is why the character is visible on the black background there. So that's another option we have there. So as I say, there's a wide variety of options here, and to be honest, I think there's actually probably a lot more interesting things you can do with this than the ones I've covered here. Now, another option is, of course, that we can use the window and make the window apply to these effects as well. And that's something we might be looking at a future lesson, because I'm planning to do a lesson on the window effects as well. So we'll be covering those at another time. Now, if you like what you've seen, of course, you can go to my website and download the source code and the build scripts and hopefully build all this yourself and try tweaking some of the settings, and maybe you can come up with some exciting effects of your own. And personally, I was very impressed with these SNES features, because most of the systems I'm used to are just basic 16 color systems. Some don't even have more than one layer. So to be able to use multiple layers and also to be able to do these kind of transparency effects really makes the Super Nintendo stand out in the console world. So very impressed there. If you want to support my content, you can of course buy my book. It's called Learn Multi-Platform Assembly with Chibi Akumas. It's available on Amazon. It covers Z80, 6502, 68000, 8086 and ARM. I'm afraid it doesn't cover 65816, but if this book's a success, I will write another one which will. So please consider backing me by buying that book. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching today, and goodbye.